Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video, I'm going to list out some of the smartphones that I would recommend from a budget range up to a price of about 20,000 rupees. And I did a similar video sometime in October last year, and quite a few of you actually liked it. So again, here goes the list. And guys, you might be noticing that most of the phones that I'm going to mention are sort of online exclusive only. Because the reason is that when the phones come to the offline market, the pricing of those phones generally rise by about 20 to 25%. So these are some of the phones that I would recommend to my friends and relatives. You are starting from the budget range to a price point of about 20,000 rupees. And guys, I get a lot of questions from you guys stating that I want a perfect smartphone in a particular price band. And the reality is that there is nothing like a perfect phone. Every phone actually has some issue or not. That's the reason whenever I post my reviews, I divide them between the pros and cons so that you can decide if a particular phone is appropriate for you. If the cons don't affect you, then that phone might be ideal for you. But for another person, maybe those cons affect him, and that phone might not be perfect for him. And again, whatever phones I'm going to mention here, I've already posted in-depth reviews for all these phones. So again, before making the purchasing decision, go ahead and again check out the full in-depth review. I'll have links for the reviews in the YouTube show notes. So let's start with the budget range. And I actually didn't frankly like any phone under 7,000 rupees. For a price of about 7,000 rupees, my recommendation is the same what I gave in October. That is the Xiaomi Redmi 3S. And for the price of about 7,000 rupees, you are getting a lot on this smartphone. So at 7,000 price point, if your pricing is around that, I would go with the Redmi 3S. Now, if we up our budget a little bit to about 9,000 rupees, again, it's the same variant of the Xiaomi Redmi 3S, but this is the Redmi 3S Prime. This has 1 GB of RAM more, and it also has a fingerprint sensor. So I feel this is a great phone in that price range. Again, the performance of the phone is actually very good, and the fingerprint sensor is responsive. And the battery life also on the Redmi 3S and even the 3S Prime is actually really good. But again, I feel the Xiaomi phones are sort of fragile, though the body is sort of metallic, but the aluminum backing is very thin. So I would suggest if you're buying that phone, get a case. Now, again, for 10,000 rupees, we have a lot of options. I would say for 10,000 rupees, if you want a compact size phone, then Lenovo K6 Power is a nice option. It's very similar to the Redmi 3S Prime, I would say. This one is having the same processor that the Redmi 3S Prime has. But one area where it excels compared to the Redmi 3S Prime is in terms of camera performance. The camera performance is slightly better on the Lenovo K6 Power. So if camera is your priority and you want a compact size phone, then the Lenovo K6 Power is a nice option. Again, the battery life on the Lenovo K6 Power is also sort of amazing because it has a very big battery. Again, check out my review for details. And now for a price point of about 11,000 rupees, I would recommend the new Redmi Note 4. And you might be asking me, why am I not recommending the Redmi Note 4? There is also a variant that sells for 10,000 rupees, but that one has just 2 GB of RAM. So I would say if you're planning to go with the Redmi Note 4, ideally I would say minimum go with the 11,000 rupees variant that comes with 3 GB of RAM. There is also one more variant that comes with the 4 GB of RAM, but that is at 13,000 rupees. So for a price band of about 11,000 to 13,000, I have the Redmi Note 4 is an excellent choice. The battery life is amazing thanks to the Snapdragon 625 chipset. And overall, it's a very good phone. The camera also has improved compared to the Redmi Note 3. But again, if camera is your highest priority, then you might be happy with the next phone that I would suggest. And that is the Honor 6X at 13,000 rupees. I've already posted my in-depth review for this Honor 6X. And in terms of camera performance, due to that dual camera setup that it has, the camera performance is actually very good on this phone. In fact, it is one of the best camera performance that I've seen in this budget oriented range. Even the front facing camera performance was nice. And also one area that is in video, the audio pickup was also actually very good on this phone. So if camera is your highest priority, then I would say go with this Honor 6X. But again, if you're sort of a very heavy gamer, then then I would not recommend you the Honor 6X, because in my testing, it played most of the games fine, but with some heavy games like Asphalt 8, it did exhibit a bit of lag. So for very heavy gaming, I would not recommend you this phone. For heavy gaming, the Redmi Note 4 is a better option. But for camera, I would say the Honor 6S. And again, with the Honor 6X also, I would suggest you buy a case, because again, with the Honor 6X also, we don't know what type of screen protection, if any, this phone has. So the next, if we up our budget to around 15,000, I would recommend the Lenovo Z2 Plus. Now the price of the Lenovo Z2 Plus has fallen. It is having the Snapdragon 820 chipset, hence it's a very fast phone. Even the battery life was good, but one area where the Lenovo Z2 Plus falls short is the rear facing camera performance in artificial lighting and indoor lighting conditions is not that great. Surprisingly, the front facing camera is better than the rear facing camera. That's weird. And regarding the Android Nougat update, I asked Lenovo officials. The Nougat update has been rolled out internationally, but they said that it will also be coming to the Indian units very soon, hopefully by this month end or by the early next month. So this is also going to get the Android Nougat update. And if you're sort of power user, then this is the most powerful phone that you can get at this price point. That is the Lenovo Z2 Plus. We also have one more variant of this phone. The 15,000 rupees variant comes with 3 gigabytes of RAM, whereas we have one more variant that's slightly expensive, that's at 18,000 if I recall, that comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM. And strangely, at this price point of about 15,000, I wouldn't be recommending the Moto G4 Plus now, because again, I had done a re-review of the Moto G4 Plus about 4 months ago, and there I had mentioned that the Moto G4 Plus was some of the units were having that screen retention issue, and still I get some reports from end users that some of the units what they have are having the screen retention issue. If you go to the Motorola service center, they are replacing the screen, but I don't like the fact that there are some units that are having that screen retention issue. So quality control issues are there with the Moto G4 Plus. In our family, we have about distant cousins and whatnot, 3 different Moto G4 Plus, and all of them don't have any issue. Even the unit of the Moto G4 Plus that I have does not have that screen retention issue. But again, I wouldn't recommend the Moto G4 Plus now. Also, the Moto G5 should be launching very soon. So if you're interested in a Motorola phone, just wait for a month or so, because the Moto G5 should come out in March or by early April in India. So I'm actually looking forward to the Moto G4 Plus. So that's the reason I won't recommend you the Moto G4 Plus. Now, if we move to a slightly higher budget, we have the Lenovo P2 that sells for 17 and 18,000 rupees. Again, a 3 gigabyte RAM, 4 gigabyte RAM model. And this is a phone for users for whom the battery life is the highest priority. If you are a person who always complains about battery life, then the Lenovo P2 is the phone for you. It has a massive battery, that's a 5100 milliamp hour, and in my testing with the dual SIM and mostly on 4G also, it was giving me almost 2 to 2.5 days of battery life. So battery life is your highest criteria, then the Lenovo P2 is a nice option. Also, it is having the Snapdragon 625 chipset, so it's snappy device. Gaming performance was good, and also it has a Super AMOLED screen that was made by Samsung. Again, check out, but the weak point again is the camera. The camera is just the weak point on the Lenovo P2. It's not bad, but again, it's not that great. If camera is your priority, again, as I mentioned, the Honor 6X definitely has a better camera than the Lenovo P2. Again, in this price band of about 15 to 20,000, as of now, we don't have very good phones that I can recommend. We also have one more option, that is the Xiaomi Mi 5, but generally it hovers between 21 and 22,000, but sometimes I've noticed that the price of the Mi 5 in sales comes down to about 20,000 rupees. So that's also a nice option, I would say. But again, with the Xiaomi Mi 5, it's sort of a delicate phone, so if you're a rough user, I would simply not recommend you that phone. And also the battery life is strictly pretty average on the Xiaomi Mi 5. So these are some of the picks that I like. And again, moving to one more phone I'll give, because many of my relatives actually asked me about any Samsung phone that I can recommend them in the mid-range. And generally the problem with Samsung mid-range phones is that they skimp on almost every sensor out there, and also features that you get with the Samsung phones are simply not that great. But again, if you're looking for a Samsung phone in the mid-range price band around 15,000-16,000, then you can have a look at the Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime and the Galaxy On Next Both the phones are actually almost the same. Internals are the same on them, just the exteriors are changing. So these are the two phones that I can recommend. I have tested them, but again, don't expect great performance. If you are sort of a gamer, then the gaming performance on the Galaxy J7 Prime and even on Next is not that great. Again, I have already posted my in-depth review for the Galaxy on Next. Again, you can check out the pros and cons. And what I do not like with the Samsung mid-range phone is that they skimp on almost every sensor, even basic sensors like auto brightness sensor. These days, gyroscope is something that many people use because of 360 degrees videos or Pokemon game. Those sensors are simply not there. So again, if you're just a casual user and really just want a Samsung phone, you can have a look at the Galaxy J7 Prime or the Galaxy on Next. But again, don't expect a lot of sensors, and if you're sort of gamer, I would say stay away from that. So guys, that's it for now for this video. Again, as I have already mentioned, in-depth reviews for almost all these phones are there. I've already done that, so links for those reviews will be there in the YouTube show notes. So if you are interested in particular phone, do check out that video review for detailed pros and cons. So guys, that's it for now for this video. I hope you liked this video, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.